Hey, Future Caleb. Are games from our youth better than current games? Current to our respective times, of course. I'm sure what I find amazing here in 2017, you find laughably archaic in your future 2078 home, which most certainly contains at least one room dedicated to dismissively laughing at relics from the past. And if your future home doesn't have such a room, well, I don't know what I'm doing putting all this money into stocks then. And don't you dare tell me that money went towards your kid's college education. College isn't necessary in the future. College is the exact type of past relic at which you'd better be laughing from your future dismisso room. Trademark. What I'm really talking about is nostalgia. If we assume video games, at least here in the US, weren't really commonplace until the late 70s at the very earliest, but more likely the early to mid 80s, that means people like current me in their 30s and 40s are the first generation of people to have video games as a nostalgic referent. That means we're the first people to be able to claim that video games were way better back when we were young, meaning that we've, the one-up generation, need to keep one very important thing in mind. Video games were not way better when we were young. Nostalgia, by definition, is a lie. According to Alan R. Hirsch in his report Nostalgia, a Neuropsychiatric Understanding, nostalgia is a longing for a sanitized impression of the past, not a true recreation of the past, but rather a combination of many different memories all integrated together, and in the process, all negative emotions filtered out. In other words, a lie. According to research, nostalgia does do a lot of great things for humans by highlighting positive moments of our youth. It's bittersweet, sure, as we can be tricked into thinking things will never be as good as they once were, but the net effect is that life feels more meaningful and death less frightening. Nostalgia smooths over the rough parts of childhood, so we aren't emotionally weighed down by how awkward we were as kids, or how mean we were to other kids, or how that one time you lit the city dam on fire, and though in reality it probably caused a lot of pain for a lot of people, all you remember is how pretty the fire looked. You are a sick person, Future Caleb. The problem with nostalgia is that it is powerful. Very powerful. You and I, Future Caleb, we will both probably defend the old game Top Gun on the NES, even though it's probably objectively not good. My question is, does the degree of that power change as the amount of time increases between you and the nostalgic referent? And as the number of possible replacements for that referent inevitably increases. Basically, will you, Future Caleb, hold on to the memories of Top Gun as strong as I, present Caleb, do? Half of me thinks, yes, I hope you do remain ignorantly nostalgic. I don't want you, Future Caleb, to decide, as you are surrounded by all types of future gaming innovations and ubiquitous mechanics expanding peripherals, the likes of which I can only dream, that Super Metroid sucks. Present Caleb loves Super Metroid. It's the best game ever, is what I believe based on past Caleb experience. The other half of me thinks that our connection to a game and any judgment passed on that game will diminish as time passes. And the greater your breadth of experience, vis-a-vis the number of additional games you play, and in the future, the number of accessories you add to the gaming toilet in your dismisso room, increases the possibility of finding better games to drown out the old, not actually good games. Otherwise, what does that say about innovation in the video game medium? That it's stagnant? I don't want that. So I'm saying two things here. I want to believe in a world where a quarter-of-a-century-old game isn't the peak of my experience, but I also don't want to believe that experience and all of the emotional energy I've invested over the years is false. Now, I understand it's not binary. I can discover a new favorite game while still considering Super Metroid a great game, so perhaps that's the simple resolution to this situation. Good works on a spectrum. But even if I accept that, I'm still interested in whether or not the power of nostalgia can be affected by the increased temporal distance and deeper experience pool. Happily, I think this is a question that can be tested. See, unlike event-based nostalgia reference like schoolyard games and birthdays and lighting dams on fire, video games and other forms of media are able to be relived and re-examined objectively. Now, the context could never be recreated, of course, but the artifact itself, as it existed back then, exists today. Am I really ready for this, though? Am I really willing to accept that these games, which I remember as wonderful games, actually suck? Am I okay to be confronted by proof that these pillars upon which I build my childhood may be cracked?
2 hours later.
Okay, despite my little skit above, I have played Super Metroid since childhood. In fact, I play it at least once every year, and I can say that yes, the game is objectively great. Top Gun, on the other hand, I just played for the first time since I was a kid, and it's really bad. I wonder what other lies my childhood was built upon. Nah, I'm fine actually. Luckily, there are so many amazing current games that a few new bruises to my childhood won't have any lasting damage. At least that's what future Caleb's therapist says. Current viewer, do you go back and play the games you remember fondly as a child? And if so, were you surprised by your present-day feeling toward the game, good or bad? And be honest, I really want to know about this. Don't let nostalgia cloud your judgment. And to you, future Caleb, say hi to your grandkids for me. And give them a copy of Super Metroid. They'll probably love it. And for those of you who are interested in what I'm drinking, this is Long Strange Triple from Boulevard Brewing Company, a local brewery here in Kansas City. I think actually my last video I was drinking a Boulevard beer, and so this is a Long Strange Triple. It's a Belgian triple that I have never had until recently, and it's really, really good. I feel like I've been missing out, so I'm not a huge Belgian style ale fan. I prefer Imperials, I prefer quads, and darker beers really in general, even though a quad's not necessarily dark, but anyway, I prefer Imperials and quads and things like that. But I'm really getting into Belgian ales lately. I like them, a little sweeter almost, just because of the wild yeast strains, and they just make them naturally more unpredictable a little bit as well. So I'm enjoying them. Anyway, I'm ranting right now. Go play some games.